welcome back, and in this segment we will be talking about the importance of the River Nile as the source of water and the artery of life in Egypt that made Herodotus, the Greek historian, say that Egypt is the gift of the Nile. And we will be talking about the celebration of the River Nile inundation, which takes place or used to take place before the construction of the high dam during the months, the end of July, the beginning of August, which we call Wafai Nil, or the fidelity of the Nile. And in the ancient times they used to celebrate it. It was a mega celebration. Even before the construction of the dam it was a great celebration. But still, although the River Nile no longer inundates, but still, or it actually does, but because of the high dam it doesn't submerge the land under the water as it used to. We still, of course, cherish the River Nile as the source of life in Egypt, but now we will be looking at it from a different perspective, which is how to preserve the River Nile and how to make use of its water. And we're joined right now by engineer Husam النجار, and he's a civil engineer at the Central Directorate of Awareness and Water Guidance. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Engineer Husam, thank you very much for being with us today on the Breakfast Show, and we will be trying to start straight away with the history of the Nile River's celebration. Would you tell us more about it?
Yes, I'd like to first say happy Al-Hafiz to us all in Egypt and everywhere. To speak about the history of the Nile, you have to look at how the ancient Egyptians treated the Nile. Actually, they treated the Nile with very much respect and very wisdom and a great deal of wisdom. I have a figure I want to show you here, which is a pharaonic chant.
They will be ready in a second.
It's okay.
Yes.
It's a pharaonic chant that the pharaohs used to worship and with and.
If you do have the figures in your hand, we can't see them by the camera.
It's a little glossy.
Yes.
It will cause trouble. Anyways, when you see it, you'll have to admire the beauty of the words. It says, the good brought by the Nile River is far more valuable than gold and silver, and more precious than gems, as people will not feed on gold nor gems, even if they were the purest.
Yes.
When you look at this words, you can see that these people knew that the water was a great gift, and they treated it respectfully. There is a major point that I want to express today.
Do you think that the concept has changed? That the Egyptians now, they do not look at the water or the Nile as it is
this is the issue.
Better or more useful than gold and silver.
Exactly. Now everybody doesn't see the importance of water. We don't see how precious it is and how important it is to our lives. We may use it in everything. We use it in everything, of course, drinking, industry, agriculture, and so on and so forth. But the problem is that we don't respect the gift. We treat it with very low standards and very low expectancies.
So we will be continuing talking about that, Engineer Husam Din, but after the break. So we'll have a quick break, and then we'll come back to continue our talk about our attitude towards the River Nile and how can we make better use of it.
أيام تموت أحلام شهور تدرس عيونه بتسافر
Engineer Mr. Husam النجار, the civil engineer at the Central Directorate of Awareness and Water Guidance, the importance of the River Nile and means of benefiting and utilizing its water in the best way. Mr. Husam, you were talking before the break about why our attitude changed and how the ancient Egyptians perceived the River Nile.
Yes. Actually, the attitude didn't change just suddenly. It took years to change the behavior of Egyptians and towards the river. But maybe the lack of information among the people is the reason of this. So I'm here today. I'll try to
summarize.
Kill a wrong concept that everybody
change the concept,
has. A friend of mine was talking to me, and I asked him, "What do you think about the river? Does this amount of water suffice for everything of our needs and so on?" He said, "Of course, the river is full, and we threw a lot of water in the Mediterranean Sea, and everything is okay." But there is a wrong concept here that people need to understand. The river gives us 55.5 billion cubic meters each year. This amount, I need you to remember. I need you to remember this number. This 55. On the other hand, we have our needs. Our needs are 114 billion cubic meters a year, more than the double of the amount of the water that gets to us through the river. Actually, our country buys goods and imports agricultural products and so on that equals to 34 billion cubic meters of water. This is called virtual water. Goods and things that you buy from outside your country because you can't grow it inside your country because you don't have the water to grow it in, so you import it from outside. This 34 is treated like virtual water because actually you could have used water and brought it in your
So,
country.
Engineer Husam, you say that we need more than double of the amount that we currently have right now from the Nile River.
From the Nile River. Yes.
So the ancient Egyptians used to be preserving the Nile River.
Of course.
How can we do that right now?
Yes. Actually, there's a funny thing I brought with me today. Maybe we can show it here.
Yes, the Nilometers.
It's talking about the Nilometers in Egypt. These were devices that was stationed at temples and maybe in other in mosques and so on, and on the old times. These devices were used to measure the amount of water that got to Egypt each year, so that they can judge the amounts of water and the amounts of agricultural land and so on. And you can see here that the oldest one is 1580 BC. It's more than, say, 3,000 years. Yes, they were doing this 3,000 years ago. On the middle here, you can see the another Nilometer that was 1155 BC.
Yes.
And this one is on the Ramses temple.
Yeah.
The last one here is the Rhoda Nilometer, which is built hundreds of years ago also. So you can.
And this one is still present.
These they are all still present. Yes, all of them. And this is only a sample of the devices used to measure the Nile and to treat the water respectively and to measure it carefully and so on. So this sample shows us that the people of Egypt and the rulers and everybody treated the water with enough respect to measure the amounts and to count every drop, as they say.
And they were important because also I understand that Nilometers, where they were stationed in ancient Egyptian temples, also told us if it's going to be a high Nile or a low Nile, according to the speed itself, because it takes the inundation of the river Nile is a 4-month season, and almost after a month and a half it gets to the highest points, which is the highest point is in August. So as it starts flowing starting from July, they can see is it going to be a low Nile, a high Nile, and accordingly they can
judge the farmers and
take
take
precautions
and taxes and so on.
Yeah, and I understand that actually a good Nile was of 16 cubits. Is that true? Around 16 cubits, the height of it.
Number, but
yeah.
I have to continue the concept that I want to explain here.
Yes,
you can see the green zone. I don't know.
Yeah, this is. Would you tell us what's the chart about?
Okay. The chart is in Arabic. I don't know if this is okay or not.
Oh, it's fine because you'll explain it to us.
Of course,
just if you translate it to us, and we can. The numbers are in English.
The green zone here is the needs.
Okay.
You see, it's 114, as I said earlier.
Yes.
And you can see the blue zone here is the income or resources.
Yes.
You can see our share of the Nile River is 55.5 only. You see, this small portion is almost half our requirement. Our requirements include the agriculture, water and irrigation, the drinking water, the industrial water use, and some losses due to the hot weather and evaporation and so on.
So our needs exceeds what we have.
Of course.
So in that case, what can we do? Like, how can we compensate for the shortage? Okay,
to compensate, you have to understand that you already you have a great gap that you're trying to fill. The great gap we are already using underground water and we are reusing the irrigation water drainage. We are trying to close the gap. But everybody needs to understand an important concept. Every drop counts, and we are at a grave situation here. We are in a hard position. We need to treat water differently. We need to look that each drop is an important resource, an important gift that we need to respect and treat with wisdom and care.
So what is the role of the ministry to be raising the awareness of the people about the concept that you're talking about?
Of course, it's the rule of the council, and of course it's your role.
Yes.
To help us.
But we're doing our part now.
Yes.
So, yes, what about the role of the ministry?
Of course, it's our role of the ministry. We are trying to reach the Egyptian people at any route available, at any way available. We try to reach through media, through the internet, through the through meetings with mosques and churches and
do you think that certain jobs or certain people here in the country living like farmers maybe need to be having more awareness about the usefulness of the river, of the Nile River?
Of course.
How to use the resources that we have?
Of course. This is what we are trying to do now, and what we were trying to do since many years ago. The attitude people using towards the Nile is not the best. We consider it a permanent thing. We consider it a very we have plenty of water. It's okay to waste some. It's okay to wash my car with some. It's okay to let the water going. We have certain attitudes that needs to be changed. We have a concept now at the ministry that we need to teach young children that it is wrong to do something that wastes water. Since the young children may be the effective element to the society after
in the
some
future,
time,
yes.
in the future, yes, because the problem is not affecting us only. The future generations will suffer more than we are suffering now. It will be harder days for them than it is for us now. So we're looking out for them. We're trying to make something good now that will affect their future and their sons and so on.
Yes.
Now, would you tell us please more about the activities of the Central Directorate of Awareness and Water Guidance?
Of course. The activities are, there's a lot of activities. The most showing or viewable one is the internet, of course. Everybody now is online and can check the Facebook and so on. And so there is the الصفحة الرسمية لوزارة الموارد المائية والري.
The official page of
the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. This page is concerned about all the events happening inside the ministry and outside the ministry. We have a lot of contracts, I guess.
Yes.
It's called contracts between us and other ministries and other entities, including the Azhar, including the church, the Egyptian church, and including other ministries like the youth and other ministries. We are trying to reach people, to tell them that we have a situation, we have a crisis, you may say. You have to treat water differently. You have to think of the gift that is given to you now and respect it so that your son and his son can use it and not suffer because of what you are doing.
Yes, in your opinion, why do you think the attitude of the people has changed over the years, as you said, maybe hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, although our ancestors had cherished the Nile River?
Mostly because of the ignorance of certain types of information, like the information I'm talking about here. People doesn't know that the river doesn't actually is not enough. The river is not meeting all our needs. You have to memorize these numbers. You have 114 billion cubic meters each year of needs. 114 billion cubic meters of needs. And on the other hand, the Nile is only giving you 55. You have to think about this. You have to consider saving water, making it better for yourself and better for the future generations. You might even help your country reduce the amount of imports, because we import a lot of things because we don't have water we import a lot of things because we don't have enough water to produce in our country.
But is it we don't have enough water, or is it because a lot of the farmers and the farmlands has been turned into housing projects rather than the lack of the water? Actually, because we used to be the granary, yes, of like during the Roman period, even till modern times, yes, even during Nasser's era, yes, we were a major agricultural country. So is it because of the misuse of the land, or is it because of the water scarcity?
Actually, you have to look at 2 points here. First, the people, the number of living, yes, capitals. We multiplicated, yes, thousands of times. We are now.
So the overpopulation is the reason.
Of course.
Yes.
But there is another important reason here.
Yes.
Reason here. You have to see that older people treated the Nile with great respect. They yeah, counted every drop.
So we need to take care of the river Nile and conceive it with the same way the ancient Egyptians did. I'd like to thank you very much, Engineer Husam al-Nagar, civil engineer at the Central Directorate of Awareness and Water Guidance, for this interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we will be going out for a quick break, so stay tuned.
The strategic location of Siwa, being on the